What is up, my ninjas? I'm Strident, and today we are looking at the ARX-8 Laevatein. I'm going to say Laevatein, that's what it looks like. It looks like it's the German spelling of Leviathan. This is from Full Metal Panic. It's an anime I have never watched, but I have seen this mecha around. I am a fan of mecha and robots and piloting giant robots since I was a kid. I've always wanted to do that, and this thing just is badass because it has freaking shotguns. I mean, what's more badass than a giant robot with giant freaking shotguns? Yeah, I didn't think you guys had anything else to say. I mean, giant swords are nice, but giant fucking shotguns? I mean, man. So I saw that and it was like, yep, that's my weapon of choice in any video game that offers them. So, and I will make them work. So, you know, having a mech in my collection that has shotguns is just stupid awesome. And I'm going to continue telling you why this is awesome. Now, this figure is a Revoltech, so it has that kind of statuesque, heroic-esque curve to its posture, and I like that. It is difficult sometimes to pose the thing because it has, you know, those revel joints that are on strange swivels and such, you know, but it allows you for a lot of dynamics, and I like that. And, you know, for the most part, after you fiddle with it and you figure out which direction the joint might be facing, it's really easy to get him to look really cool. And it's just a cool looking robot. I mean, from any direction, in just about any action, he looks cool. There's several other versions of this figure, and I could have gotten them for the price that I paid for this, because this is the special version. There's a version that comes just with the figure, a couple guns, and a cannon. And then there's a version that comes with the booster. I got the version with the booster. I like what this figure is. Although, I will say that, and I'm going to get to this in more detail towards the end, the Revoltechs, their articulation always, like, it tends to get on my nerves, even though you can get used to it. But just talking about how the figure looks, you know, the sculpt and paint, I had no slop. Beautiful line work. There's even some weathering on the arms, like the underside of the arms. There's all these cool details, like with the weapons and stuff, like that little grenade that's in there. You could actually remove that from the little arm. He had a bunch of different hands. In the show, I've watched a couple clips. I watched them yesterday when I was taking these pictures. It just looked like the mechs are designed to fight like people. So it was as if they were trying to do their own little take on Gundam to some degree. So, you know, knives are knives, but they cut through bigger things because obviously, you know, they're giant robots. Some of them break through AT fields because some of the robots can create force fields and such. And, you know, the different guns have different effects and different, you know, uses, because these are supposed to be viewed as like giant machines with the different classes and such and whatnot. And I don't know, it works for me. In my collection, this is a super robot the way super robots are meant to be. So, you know, I'm gonna, you know, have him fighting off giant monsters and other mecha with the standard mode, because what you're looking at here is just regular mode. And then when we put on some of the accessories, that would be his boosted mode or powered mode. And I like the fact that they gave us that option. Apparently in the show, there's, you know, little add-ons that, you know, help make the figure or make the mecha a lot more powerful in battle. So, you know, all in all, it's pretty damn dope. This guy comes with a ton of accessories. You see why I went for the one with the booster, because look at all that. I was just like, wow. Wow. I mean, the upgraded knives versus the standard knives. One the smaller set are like anti-tank, and then the other ones are like Graw knives, I think that's what they call them, Graw blades. Then you've got the shot cannons. Yes, shot cannons, as well as the standard shotgun, the you know, regular shotgun. You've got robot arms that you can put on different parts, pretty much anywhere that there's a peg hole. I mean, they come in handy too, because not only can you use them to help support some of the other weapons, you can use them to hold extra weapons. And trust me, he can hold all the weapons at the same time. Those are called fairy feather engines, or fairy feather add-ons. I don't get what they do. I didn't see it. This mecha actually does not show up in the anime, so I was kind of surprised that we don't get an example. It's in the manga only, and I think it's in one of the Super Robot War games. So there's a lot of parts to this that I don't know what they do, and the box is all in Japanese, so I mean, with the exception of a handful of things. But here's that standard stand for your Revoltech figures, to make it look like they're about to take off and do something. Here are these, I would call these Vulcan like repeaters, and they're pretty cool. I like them. So much artillery, good God. And then this is the demolition howitzer separated, so that you can both, I think one of them is like a what is that, like some kind of cannon on its own, because you can connect it to his shoulder and whatnot. This is the booster itself. It's pretty damn beautiful. Good Lord, it's beautiful. And of course, your Revoltech stands, one for the booster, one for the actual figure, your box, and then there's an extension on the floor in front of the, right next to the box, in case you want to make things a little bit taller, or if you need to rest the gun on it. Now the box is cool because it holds all the small stuff. You can fit almost all the small pieces into that box, and that's pretty cool. It's a good accessory to have. So, powered up mode. You take off the knees. There's like these knee, on the previous version, there's these little kneecap pieces. You can remove those. They're on Revoltech joints, and you put these on instead. These house the powered up knives. Forgot what the knives were called, but they're beautiful. The arms pretty much stay the same. Well, the forearms stay the same. The main piece of the figure that changes is the shoulder, and that's where those fairy feather, I think they're like anti-gravitational units, so they help him move quickly and float all over the place and such. It's just strange that they're so, out there in the open. There are two heads. One head is closed up in the back, and then the other head has an opening for you to attach this energy feathering exhaust, which looks pretty cool. It's cool that the eyes are so inset like that. You kind of have to look underneath the helmet to see all that. But, the end result, once you put all this stuff on, is your robot looks a little bit bulkier. It looks a little bit less Gundam-esque, even though this design doesn't look like a Gundam. It's the functionality that Gundams have. But then when you arm him up, holy shit, it's like he transforms. And this is not even all the gear. This is just some of the gear. You got your shot cannons. You've got the robot arms holding the machine guns. It's just like, wow, that's pretty damn nice. And all these parts that I put on are parts I have to attach. None of it is housed in the actual figure. The shot cannons have some cool stuff on there, but I mean, it's just, if ever there was a perfect robot for my tastes, it's this one, because it freaking has shot cannons. I mean, come on. That is just badass. All that would make this better is if those shot cannons ran on my rage. Then I would be super happy. And we could always pretend that, you know what I mean? But the design is sick. You add that stuff on, it looks really good. But then if you go a step further and just start adding on more shit, add on the Vulcan repeaters, it looks amazing. Yes, I know that's not what they're probably called. That's what I'm calling them. This thing looks like its freaking damage output is probably ignorant. You know what I mean? Just the fact that you have all these types of armament just sitting right there on the vehicle. And from what I saw from the actual anime, these guys are pretty agile. Like I saw the original, I think it's called the Arbalest. The original mech that this guy drew, the same character that pilots this, he piloted before, and it was pretty quick and pretty agile and stuff. So I can only imagine how fast this guy is, you know. And the Super Robot War stuff I saw, he moves pretty quickly. So this guy is not only powerful when it comes to blasting shit, but it looks like he's powerful when it comes to his speed and, you know, all that kind of craziness. He's powerful and agile. So I'm impressed. I'm thoroughly impressed with the design. I didn't think I was going to be as impressed when I first opened it up. Now, I think these here are called molecular cutters. I think that's the proper name for it. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. Let me know what the right name is. They're the things that are housed on those kneecap pieces that just peg in on a Revoltech joint where the little points originally in the standard mode pegged in. Now, you apply the booster and you have just winged death. I mean, like, there's no other explanation. Like, if you lose piloting this thing, you're a fucking fool. You know what I mean? Like, how could you lose? How is it even possible? I just love what I'm seeing. I ended up having to use, I don't like Revoltech stands. Not for these things, it's really heavy, so it doesn't really hold it up very well. So I use the stand from the Dark Knight Returns Batman. I tend to like that thing. The booster itself, I think this is called the XL-3 booster. It's beautiful. It's got a machine gun. It's got wing-mounted missiles. It's got the 2 actual huge turbines that you just saw. And then, you know, you have all the armament that it can carry on it. The actual Leviathan itself can carry. So, I mean, you just point it in the direction of the enemy, of whatever it is you want to destroy, and it's going to go down. You know what I mean? It's going to go down. There still is one more piece that I don't think I really went over, which I'm going to in a second. I don't know why I chose to neglect that, but it's the howitzer cannon. That shit, or demolition howitzer, that shit is amazing. And I'm going to add it in right now. So when you are in flight mode with the booster attached, this is where the cannon sits on the side. One of the robot control arms holds it in place so it can sit alongside your Leviathan as it flies to rain down death upon whatever it is that it is aimed at. It's in 2 parts, as you saw in the accessory section, and it's held together with this clamp that you see at the very bottom of it. Now, in standard mode, without the booster, it just sits on an arm off of the shoulder behind the actual robot itself. So, and it's pretty secure. I was really surprised, you know, when I was playing around with it. But once you get airborne, you can either have it, you know, folded up like so, or you could have it, you know, straightened out. Kind of like what you see right here. And I mean, it works really well. It's not, it doesn't get in the way. It's just really awesome once you have it all, you know, put together, because it looks like it's that final weapon, you know, or your fight starter, you know, from a distance. You hit the enemy with that, and then you fly in and you clean up all the stragglers. It's just an awesome piece. And I mean, you know, it already looks thorough. I mean, you can see it hanging there on the side. The mech already looks thorough without that, but you know, that's the icing on the cake along with the booster. Just dopeness. And so we've come to the bottom line. The bottom line is this thing is just pure aggression, pure dopeness, just in action figure form. As far as mechas go, it's got a beautiful design, and it seems to be a very popular build for a mech that never showed up in an anime. So apparently a lot of people came across this series and enjoyed it. A lot of different companies have done versions of this character, and I think I might go after the Robot Spirits version, which is what you see here, just because it has more standardized articulation. There is one called a metal build, which I might someday look into that. Here's a comparison between the Robot Spirits version and the Revoltech version. As you can see, not too many liberties were taken. You still got the basic design with the Spirits version being bigger. But I don't know. This might be something I will search and get into to add to my collection of giant robots, which I have a decent amount of giant robots because that's one of my favorite things in all of collecting and all of geekdom is giant robots. The idea of being able to pilot something like this that, you know, is the last hope for whatever group, for mankind, for whatever. It's just a cool idea, you know, because it kind of goes back to shows like, you know, Knight Rider and Airhawk and I'm sorry, Airwolf. Jesus Christ. Where you have like a vehicle that's like the big shit, and it's the only thing that can help turn the tide, you know? So, you know, I always dug those kinds of things, be it a vehicle, a special vehicle, or a giant robot. And giant robots, I mean, come on, they just look awesome. So this one looks super awesome. Very awesome weaponry, very awesome build quality. There's nothing on this figure that is brittle, that fell off. I think the only thing you need to be careful of is when messing with the booster. Don't let the little protrusions, the wings and flaps and such, don't bump them into anything because those parts are a little bit brittle. Or I shouldn't say brittle, but they're kind of, you know, fragile. And the exhaust from the Lambda drive on his head, you want to be careful with that. But besides that, the build quality of Revoltech is pretty good, and you always feel like you can play with this thing. So, you know, have fun, play with it. If you see it, get it. This is a dope-ass vehicle, you know, dope-ass mecha, dope-ass figure. It just, for the price, I mean, I paid $60 for all of what you saw. And I think that was plus shipping, if I remember correctly. So, you know, this thing is made of wind. If you see it, pick it up. You will not be disappointed. This is my review of the Revoltech Laevatein with the booster. It's just one of those things that all I can say is it's just certified dopeness, you know, pure freaking certified dope. It's just awesome. We need more things like this, or at least I need more things like this in my collection because I only have one other Revoltech, you know what I mean? And I've been looking at them, but I haven't pulled the trigger, and I had to do it with this one because I needed a robot fix. So anyway, I'm Strident. This has been my review of the Revoltech Laevatein. This is my story, and I'm sticking to it. Let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know how you feel by hitting your like buttons and your dislike buttons and your whatever, if you feel like it, because, you know, that is a thing. And I will catch you guys on the next video. Peace outside.